everyone, my name is Lydia, and this is what I wish they taught me about econometrics and introduction. So far, every explanatory variable that we have used for our work examples has been numerical: income, price, education, experience. But what if the variable is something like south or north region, treatment or control, before or after a certain event? These are all categories. And regression needs numbers. So how exactly do we connect categories to a regression? How can categories be included in a regression? This video is supposed to give you an introduction into exactly that concept by introducing you to what we will call dummy variables. A dummy variable is a variable that takes only two values. Which means 1 or 0, where 1 is yes and 0 is no. For instance, you could have a dummy variable, which is 1 whenever someone is employed, and 0 when someone is unemployed. Most of the times, keep in mind, whenever you're working with a software, let's say Stata or R, the naming of that dummy variable is in function to the meaning or the information that that dummy variable is giving to you. So if in this particular case, the 1 is employed, but 0 is unemployed, that means that the best way to actually name this dummy variable will be, for instance, D underscore employed. So that the 1 should automatically in your head be what the name of this variable is telling you, meaning employed. And you can add that D to remind yourself that this is a dummy. Especially if, let's say, you have also another variable where you have for how many years someone has been employed or for how many years someone has been unemployed. Now, how exactly do we plug that into a regression? Because it's very easy to picture an Excel spreadsheet, and in terms of data that we have collected, let's say we have people for who we are asking many different questions, one of which is, are they employed or not? And the answer will be a yes or no, which in your Excel spreadsheet is going to look like 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. So for instance, in this little one, in this little case, person 1, 4, and 5, they are indeed employed, but we've got person 2 and 3, they are unemployed, for instance. Okay? So how do we plug that into the regression now that we know it is there as an information in our Excel spreadsheet? Well, that's very simple. We do exactly the same thing that we've been doing when we write any regression like before. So we'd have a y variable being equal to beta null plus beta 1, let's say d for the dummy, plus an error term. Okay, now what exactly does this imply for us? Conceptually, if your d is equal to 0, okay, it means that I am actually looking into people who are unemployed. Okay, and if I then substitute this d as 0 in my actual regression population model, then what I will have is simply that my y is equal to beta 0 when I do the interpretation, like the estimation. And then if d is equal to 1, that means I'm actually looking into the employed people here. Okay? So how would that estimated model look for me? Well, I simply need to substitute this d for 1 in here. So I'm going to have some sort of predicted y hat being equal to beta 0 plus now beta 1. Because keep in mind, having substituted the d for 1, we don't really need to write it in there. Okay? So now look very carefully what we've done in here by doing this substitution. When my d is equal to 0, what I'm saying is like, hey, actually concentrate only on the lines where I've got all of these people where employee is 0. Then when d is equal to 1, I'm saying, well, actually now I want you to look only at the lines where I have d only equal to 1. So I'm only looking at the employed people, okay? So if I'm having the average y hat in here, let's say that y is happiness, and we're trying to see whether happiness depends on whether you're employed or unemployed. Well, for unemployed people, the prediction that we have here is this y hat being equal to beta 0 hat. And then for people who are employed, that level of happiness, now of predicted happiness, now all of a sudden is this beta 0 plus beta 1 hat. So we're moving from 0 to 1, and we're moving from beta 0 to beta 0 plus beta 1 hat. What that tells us is that basically this beta 1 hat measures the difference between the two groups. Okay? And what that also means is that, well, the beta 0 is taking all the information about what we will call the base group or the benchmark group, however it's easier for you. So meaning the group where the dummy is equal to 0. Okay? And this is something that you should always remember, and you should always check, especially when you do your interpretation. Always know which is your base group. Okay? So, once again, it seems that with the dummy variable, we're moving into a new sort of category of interpretation, because now it seems like beta 1 is measuring a difference between the groups. In the next video, we're going to see, once this dummy variable is incorporated into a multiple regression, and see like how if any of the interpretations that we have introduced so far is going to change, and how exactly the interpretation of the dummy itself is going to take a more holistic intuition. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.